I came to find out about ayahuasca, honestly, many years ago, over 10 years ago, long before I ever had an experience with it, just through experimenting with DMT and extracted forms of DMT, and just through research on that, finding out that the oldest, one of the most ancient forms of DMT was the use of a vine, central and native to the Amazonian basin and rainforests, used by many different indigenous cultures in this region. A component of two plants forming ayahuasca. And just having a deep interest in medicine, healing, ways of existing that existed long before Europeans, the Spanish conquest, and their overall genocide and destruction of cultures all throughout this hemisphere. I had a profound interest in ayahuasca and the hidden world, if you will. Some of the things that have been lost in antiquity that used to be with our species as far as shamanism and other things. That was my first introduction to ayahuasca. And it wasn't until 5 months ago, coming to Mexico and working with a curandero, Mexican curandero, that I first actually experienced taking the medicine in ayahuasca. But at that point, I was very well researched and read with the actual plants themselves.
I came to find out about ayahuasca through YouTube. So at first I was exploring mushrooms, magic mushrooms. And when I wanted to find out more information on it, through the feed I also came across ayahuasca, and then I started to do research on that.
Okay. So I found out about ayahuasca a couple of years ago, around like 2017. I read like a Vice article about it and about how people would see like a giant snake during their visions, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And I also was reading how it helped a lot with depression and anxiety, and so I did some research. And I was gonna come out here to Peru a couple of years ago, but things fell through. Lots of like Reddit posts and like YouTube videos just to like kind of educate myself about like what it entails, because I've always heard it's such an extreme experience.
I don't remember not knowing about it. I guess just somewhere along my journey with other plant medicines, I came across the idea and the concept and the tradition. Yeah. So it's been years now that I've known about it.
Yeah. And then, are you comfortable sharing the general reason why you want this experience or what you're seeking? For example, a change in path, an awakening, etc. And then, are you comfortable sharing the general reason why you want this experience? And then, if not, just why did you choose to come down here?
Yeah, the reason I want this experience is this is a continuation of a path I started about at this point 6 months ago. Before I came exactly to Peru in the Amazon basin, I'd already had 3 ayahuasca ceremonies and had already started a process with the ayahuasca, which was the result of 6 months ago just completely losing my way in life and being very close to death, close to a place of suicide, and coming out of an extreme drug addiction, an extreme fentanyl addiction along with other substances. And I went clean on my own without the help of any rehab or anything, but staying clean and changing my life, I was really not confident about how easy it would be in the States. As well, I just have zero trust of the pharmaceutical industry and in the rehab and rehabilitation process in the States. I wanted to address things that led me in my life to being insecure enough that I fell into, wanting to self-destruct with those kind of substances. I wanted to address a lot of things, PTSD from other things I won't go into, just things that I felt like other medicine, other forms of psychiatry, rehabilitation in the United States is completely lacking and almost infantile in its approach to. As much as it works for some people, and I applaud that, I just knew it would never it was never going to actually lead me to the healing I needed. And I was very well aware, at least for me, the shamanic practices of an extremely wide range of indigenous peoples and nations from Canada all the way down to South America are some of the only true forms of medicine that can help you when you really feel like you have lost things like your spirit, your soul, and your connection to yourself and life, things much deeper than Western medicine and our contemporary culture really has a way to grapple with. For that reason, it's something some people might not be able to wrap their heads around with, but there's many things that are not qualitative or quantitative as far as the human psyche, things that are very ancient and were much more powerful before the systems that kind of eroded a lot of the cultures here. And I was very aware that ayahuasca can connect you to things that have been lost from our species for a very long time. And not just ayahuasca itself, but true shamans, people who really understand the medicine, are some of the only people who can truly almost do reconstructive surgery on your soul and your being. It's something a lot of people won't understand unless they experience the medicine, and something maybe a lot of people in the Western world aren't meant to understand, as much as this medicine is for everybody. But that is definitely the reason to come down here, to completely reconnect with the person I feel like I either was a long time ago as a child or should have always been and just got railroaded, as much as I take accountability by society and just so much of the negativity in the United States, and more specifically just the destruction I did to myself with drugs and negative behavior.
Okay, and then second to last question. Okay, and then are you comfortable with sharing the general reason why you want this experience or what you're seeking, for example, a change in path? But if not, then why did you choose to come down here to Peru?
Okay, so I wanted to explore ayahuasca the same reason why I wanted to explore shrooms. I wanted to get deeper inside myself. I've been meditating for a very long time, doing a lot of different types of shadow work and spiritual work on myself, and I felt that I had just so much caked up trauma within my embodiments that ayahuasca, being the most powerful of all psychedelics, was really going to help me to get to the root of a lot of my issues.
And I came out here primarily because I've been dealing with depression, anxiety, and a lot of trauma for a lot of my life. And I could see how it was affecting my relationships, like with my girlfriend and like my family, even my friends. Like, it's hard to even keep a relationship for me. Like, I really couldn't stand being around people. And I think a lot of that had to do with a lot of trauma that I wasn't willing or couldn't even see that was inside of myself. And so, yeah, that's the main reason I came out here, just to like understand like why I feel this way, because I don't think it's normal for people to feel like they want to die every day. And my first full ceremony that I did with ayahuasca, that I had a full dose amount, was amazing. It was like a breakthrough. Like, it just like shed light on so many issues that I thought were just fundamentally wrong with me, but I realized they were just all this pain that I've been carrying along for such a long time, and I hadn't even let myself like feel the pain associated with that trauma. And so it was a really good experience because I was able to like actually have a conversation with myself, like away from like all the masks that like society places on myself that like I would identify with. Like, I was able to shed all of that and just see me, and just see like how like pure and like loving and awesome I am. And like I felt like I was a kid again, like after my first ceremony.
I suppose I'm seeking to know more, to both myself personally, like myself little s, you know, and myself as to what I really am, you know. So there's like personal development goals that I have, but also I just want to experience all the wonder that there is here, you know, to access as much of it as possible while I am here, you know. I think that's the point.
Why I came down here, specifically Peru, specifically East Peru, specifically the Amazon basin, and specifically this center, again, at the expense of sounding pretentious, this medicine is not only a consciousness, but also a technology and a vehicle to interact with other consciousness that exist inside all of us, but also cosmic intelligences. I only say that to say I had no designs several months ago when I was in Mexico, first starting working with plant medicine in recovery from fentanyl and other substances. No designs of coming to Peru, continuing work with ayahuasca, coming here. And my third and final ayahuasca ceremony in Peru, I received almost not instruction, but literally received a vision, basically telling me I had more work to do, in the summation, or at least the summary of this chapter of this work would be conducted in Peru, and I needed to go to the Amazon rainforest. I needed to go to the heart of ayahuasca, because it does not grow in Mexico. I needed to go to seek out where this culture, this medicine, these traditions actually come from. And there would be, in no other terms can I explain, basically this vision was saying the rest of my life, the answers to what I'm seeking for in this healing journey will be unfolded or at least set in motion by coming here. And so after that, I did much research before even leaving Mexico, because feel very strongly about the last decade, 2 decades, the monetization of ayahuasca and shamanism. Just the idea of the word shamanism paints a pretty clear picture of the exploitation that is going on here, that is absolutely existing and does go on here. And on top of that, ayahuasca is an extremely serious medicine. This is not anything any doctor in the United States, regardless of 50 years of research with psychedelics, not something you're going to understand anywhere near as well as a curandero deep in the jungle whose people have been working with this medicine and passed down for thousands of years. It's something not fully explainable. I say this medicine is extremely powerful stuff, and at the very worst, there are many people who pretend to be curanderos and shamans and pretend to have indigenous roots to gain credibility with using this medicine. There are people who don't fully understand how to use this medicine, and at the worst, at the expense of sounding maybe ridiculous to some, this medicine is extremely powerful. And as far as anything closely resembling magic, there's a high possibility of altering people's lives for the better and the worse with this medicine if you're not careful. Opening people up to energies and things very ancient and not easily able to be understood by us modern people, especially coming from Western society or other societies. For that reason, there's many people with negative motives. And at the very least, there's many centers that leech off of indigenous people, leech off the traditions, and are only out for a buck, and they encourage the exploitation of ayahuasca. And on top of that, it's not sourced very well. So for me, coming here, the specific center, Mayanidi, was a no-brainer, having initially contacted them and done a little bit of research, because one, it sits in an indigenous community, one of few remaining in the southeastern Peruvian Amazon basin, of the Shipipo people, who have been using ayahuasca and have a rich tradition of curanderismo, healing, the shamanic tradition, going back easily 20,000 years. At the very least, if you want to go off of archaeologists, 10,000 years. And for that reason, one, I knew it would be in good hands. I knew there was authenticity. I knew there was real motive. I knew that just seeing the people who were here and that they actually controlled and run the center, and there were not some gringos or white people or other outside influences controlling the money, that it was in their hands, every aspect of the center. In the process, that gave me a lot of confidence, knowing that this ayahuasca, they have one of the strongest cultures with ayahuasca. They kind of are the litmus test for shamanism with ayahuasca, these people. And on top of that, it being in an indigenous community, that's a completely insulated community of Shipibo people. And on top of that, knowing that, one, any money spent here on the process is going back into that community, insulating them from a myriad of really serious problems facing indigenous people in Peru right now. On top of that, going immediately to the family of our shaman. Really gave me confidence coming here. And knowing that, also meeting the shaman, not something that could be translated into words, but she is 100% of the tradition, is passed down from her father. It's a lineage that must be chosen. It must be through blood. And with her, I would imagine it goes back thousands of years. It's something that takes very seriously, and she comes from an extremely authentic place. Authentic isn't even the word. It's something a lot more profound than that, but an extremely authentic place for the medicine. For that, coming to Mainiti was something I could be at peace with. It's a far cry. I have so much mistrust of the majority of centers in Peru. I would not recommend them. I would not recommend most of them. And I had much peace coming here, knowing that, one, it was any financial monetization of the actual medicine and the practice is going right into the community of people who have been using this medicine and exported it to the world. And on top of that, the process is unadulterated, and more or less the obviousness of unavoidable things, it's unchanged from thousands of years. You're getting pure medicine, energy healing, things that are hard for me to explain. I don't fully understand, but for that reason, Mainiti was a good choice. It's also incredibly sustainable as far as in an eco-friendly way. I mean, there's absolutely no detrimental anything coming out of this center, which I cannot say the same of many other centers. And yeah, for that. Sorry for these really long answers. I don't know what you're gonna do with these. These are really.
And I purposely came to Peru because I did a lot of research on places that did ayahuasca. And even though I found places in America, in my personal opinion, in America they do it under a church, and that's not for me. I wanted to be in a place of indigenous, not religious. And so I knew that, indigenous people with their own indigenous land was going to be the most pure experience.
And then I chose to come down here to Peru because I've read through my research that it's the sacred plant to the indigenous people here, and so I wanted to experience that in the land where it originates, because I feel like there's a connection to the land where you're doing this that is lost if you take it out. And yeah, it's been wonderful being here, and everyone is very supportive, and I am so happy. I don't regret coming out here at all. It's already made so many profound impacts on my life.
And then, I guess generally, like, why did you choose to come down to Peru versus like the U.S.?
Yeah, it was, to come to Peru was something that I just felt like it seemed right.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm down here, it's so clear to me, that for this medicine, the Amazon that's what she is, that's where she is, she's from here, mm-hmm. Ayahuasca. And to be here with the long tradition, it helps me to trust when I come to a place with someone like Lucy, who comes from a lineage of working with this medicine. It's a comfort to leave myself in her hands, you know, the hands of somebody who really knows,
Yeah.
you know. Now I would never go anywhere else.
What has ayahuasca done for me so far? Again, this being here at Mayaniti in Peru, this is a continuation of working with ayahuasca, and ayahuasca definitely requires you to meet it halfway. I feel like, as much as it allows you to enter a world unseen, truly see metaphysical sides of yourself and existence that are completely foreign to some of the greatest organized minds in academia or whatever field you wish, things in wisdom that only cultures who work with this medicine truly understand. For that reason, ayahuasca has already done for me a much greater integration of myself and happiness. And as far as that, being able to unbox trauma and have emotional, physical, and mental trauma that in malady that you're not even aware of, expelled from your body. And then when you do the work with ayahuasca, just doing the ceremonies and journeying to these places on your own is not enough. When you accompany this with large amounts of solitude, inner reflection, meditation, journaling, writing your thoughts, it really takes unboxing an ayahuasca ceremony to truly understand some of what you've been relieved of when you meet ayahuasca halfway. And what it has done for me is just, one, started a hunger for just betterment of myself, to just be more aware, to listen more, to just try and to really see the lack of need for negative behaviors, and just it has given me a lot of peace. But me personally, more than anything, ayahuasca has just awakened in me a great quest for more. It's definitely created at this point, until I can see the end, a lifelong want to continue working with these plant medicines, just to continue journeying deeper and deeper.
Okay, and then what has ayahuasca done for you so far? / would you recommend ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca, what it's done for me so far has it helped me to open up. And when I say open up, it means like open up my heart space more. It helped me to remember a lot of the traumas that, not only remember it, but more so, when you go through so much trauma, your mind can very easily block it out. And, you know, it's not something that I just want to go and talk to everybody about. And it's my mind, you know what I'm saying? Nobody else can go inside my mind to help me remember or confirm what I've been through. And ayahuasca has most definitely confirmed the truth of my traumas, but it's also healed me. She let me know that she was there for me and that she's not going anywhere whether I take her or not. And so just a lot of confirmation, and so that I can just say, okay, that did happen. I'm not going crazy trying to figure things out anymore, and I can let these things go and continue to forgive people, places, and things outside of myself, and forgive myself. What was the other question?
Oh, just would you recommend it?
I would absolutely recommend ayahuasca. I would recommend it to those, not, you know, a lot of people are on a spiritual path, but I recommend it to those people who really take inner healing seriously. You know, I see a lot of people using spirituality as a trend, as something just to identify with, but it's not necessarily an identity, it's a true way of living. And I've been doing this for a very long time. I'm 33 now, and I started this when I was 16, 17 years old. So I take it very seriously, and yeah, I would recommend it to those who are looking to get so deep inside themselves and is willing to let go of all identities and become their true selves.
I would definitely recommend ayahuasca. For most people, and it's not for everybody, you know. Everybody's path is different. But yeah, it's I'm still in my process, but what it's brought for me so far has been so clear and powerful that I think that anybody who feels called at all, even a little bit, to this medicine, it's worth doing. It's connects you to something much deeper.
Personally, I don't think all outsiders should have access to this, because there are a lot of outsiders who want to go to pure places just to mess it up. You have a lot of outsiders who want to go to indigenous places just for a simple vacation. This isn't a simple vacation. This is deep soul healing. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who use spirituality to hurt others rather than to heal others. And I trust the shamans in what they know what they're doing. I'm not going to question their calling, you know what I'm saying? If they feel that there's people that shouldn't be here, they would know. So I would recommend it to outsiders who, like I said, who take spirituality seriously and is not in it to maliciously hurt anybody or to colonize it or to bring things back to America or wherever, just to misuse the guidance and the medicine.
I think that people should have access to plant medicines for, to raise our consciousness and to reduce the amount of negativity and confusion in this world. I think we're an amazing species. I really do, and I think we have a lot of potential. And we get there are so many things in our world today that stand in our way. And I think if more people had access to healing and plant medicines and I guess access to the sacred, that we could really do a lot together.
Me llamo Lucila, tengo 30 años, vivo en San Francisco. Nosotros compartimos medicina natural, medicina tradicional, y desde mis 23 años practiqué esto con mi papá Leonardo. Y entonces, para no perder el costumbre, y tengo mis hijos para así poder curar.
¿Y cómo empezaste a trabajar con la ayahuasca y qué se siente hacer parte de una tradición de cuadernos?
Mira, tradición de cuaderno, esto es como estudiar, como ir a la escuela, pero no es como igualito, ¿no? Para aprender la medicina, yo esto practiqué con mi papá Leonardo. Cuando yo tenía 15 años, tomé mi primera ayahuasca. Y mi papá y mis hermanos, toda mi familia hacían este trabajo, ¿no? Y eso a mí me encantaba. No me gustaba estudiar, pero me gustaba esto. Y entonces así vino creciendo, y de los 15 años yo empecé a tomar primera vez ayahuasca y no lo sentí nada. Y eso ya me sentí muy feliz, como que wow, no sentí nada. Y cómo ve, cómo canta, Ícaro. Y así, y cuando yo tenía 16 años, mi mamá se murió en accidente. Y ya cuando la mamá no existe, la vida cambia. Papá es pero muy diferente que mamá. Y así encontré a mi esposo Augusto. Viajé con él hasta los 20 años. He tenido mis hijos. Después he pensado, no, tengo que hacer cuando yo era niña lo que quería hacer. Y conversé con mi papá Leonardo y me dijo, no, eres muy joven. Para hacer hay que pensar muy bien. Porque lo que tú quieres hacer no es por 2 días ni 3 días. Esos son años. Yo dije, yo quiero hacer. ¿Segura? Yo dije, sí, segura. Y entonces, papá no creía así, hasta que yo cumplí 23 años. Después yo dije, por favor, papá. Y me dijo bien advertido, no es fácil. El día que tú quieres arrepentir, yo no te voy a decir que hasta aquí tú tienes que seguir. Tanto que has querido. Yo dije, papá, estoy pensando por mis hijos y otras familias. Y así empecé primero a limpiar el estómago. ¿No? Primero se toma planta. El planta que yo tomo era resina de hoje. Resina de hoje. Y eso tomé para hacer limpieza. He descansado una semana. Después de una semana ya me metió mi papá, donde que yo debo estar sola. En una casa pequeña. Y para que me pueda dar plantas así. Y después yo dije, papá, primero quiero conocer las plantas. ¿Cuál planta voy a hacer y esto? Sí, primero tienes que dietar. Cuando tú sales de ahí, la dieta, vas a ir viendo tus medicinas, dónde hay, dónde no hay. Y el primer planta que me enseñó era como que me ha dado piñón colorado. Su hoja. Primero se empieza con planta suave, después ya viene árboles, ¿no? Esos son los que ya te ayuda a tener tu defensa. Y cuando hay malas energías existen. Otros dicen no, pero sí existen. Y para tener esa protección, ya he dietado 3 años. 3 años sin ver a nadie ni mis hijos, solo ver a mi papá Leonardo. Era muy difícil, de verdad. El día no tardaba rápido, el mes no llegaba rápido, el año no llegaba rápido. Cuando uno no se hace nada, la mente con muchas cosas. Yo quería correr, ¿por qué estoy aquí si nadie me ha obligado? Pero después pensaba su mensaje de mi padre, no, debo continuar, porque yo es lo que he decidido, no ellos. Y entonces seguí así, y cumplí la meta que yo, donde quería estar. Y cuando no lo esperaba, como ver extranjeros, era mi meta que ayudar a mis hijos y mis familias. Pero llegó, gracias a medicina, hay personas que nos quieren ayudar. Gracias a ellos que tengo un poco compartiendo con ellos medicina tradicional y me siento muy feliz. Y soy shipiba, me siento muy orgullosa por mi papá, por enseñarme su sabiduría y su conocimiento. Y eso es lo que te puedo decir. A la ayahuasca, ayahuasca es en castellano, uni es en shipibo, ¿no? Y entonces, ayahuasca tenemos ahí, eso crece al mismo tiempo con un árbol grueso. Cogemos tempranito sin conversar con nadie. Le cortamos y le amontonamos donde que vamos a cocinar. Y hay que tener chacruna y ayahuasca. Y ese 2 juntos se cocina. El proceso de ayahuasca se le corta chiquitito, después se le machaca. machaca, después de terminar de machacar, se le pone una olla grande. Ayahuasca chacuruna, ayahuasca chacuruna, ayahuasca chacuruna, en una olla grande, y eso se pone en la candela. Y ahí tiene que hervir todo el día, como 8 horas o 9 horas, dependiendo. Y cuando ya está bajo, hay que sacar bien poquitito. De una olla grande queda bien poquitito. De una botella como chiquitita. Y ya está listo. Y eso ya se puede tomar. Pero no se puede tomar solo. Tiene que ser con un maestro que tenga experiencia. Porque el efecto de la ayahuasca es muy fuerte, ¿no? Y por eso, si es que tú nunca has tenido experiencia, ¿cómo lo vas a bajar? Por eso siempre tiene que tener un maestro.
Because she said to me hitting it softly and getting more down.
Yeah, she's like, the way she does it, it breaks apart.
Yeah.
La gente hay mucha obra.
¿Y qué es lo que más te gusta de lo que haces?
Lo que más me gusta es esto, compartir con las personas que me visitan de todos diferentes países. Y me siento feliz. Y en la noche compartiendo ayahuasca con ellos y ver a ellos, y eso es mi felicidad. Ayudar a ellos y ver siguiente día muy feliz, y yo también me hago muy feliz.
¿Y cuál es la cosa más difícil para ti en tu trabajo?
El más difícil, te puedo decir, para mí en mi trabajo no es difícil, ¿no? Solamente hay que practicar, ¿no? Por ejemplo, todo el trabajo que nosotros aquí hacemos, por ejemplo, hablar inglés no puedo, ¿no? Porque no entiendo, porque no he estudiado. Si hubiera practicado, también hubiera sabido hablar inglés. Eso es para mí un poco difícil, no muy como duro, ¿no? Y todo el trabajo que aquí hago es para mí, todo es como divertir con las personas. Y todo lo que yo doy, yo mismo estoy preparando. Y toda esa energía de la medicina, energía de la plantita que nos enseña, eso me da la fuerza. Y cogiendo la fuerza, y estoy muy feliz. Y eso es lo que puedo hacer.
Y la última pregunta es, ¿cómo sientes de que los extranjeros vengan a tu casa a usar la medicina? ¿Qué es lo que más te gusta de que vengan extranjeros y qué es lo que menos te gusta de vengan extranjeros?
A mí me gusta no solamente extranjeros, aquí vienen de diferentes partes, de otra comunidad, de otro caserío, porque no solamente están los extranjeros enfermos. Los extranjeros vienen aquí para aprender cómo ellos pueden salir de sus problemas. Ellos no tienen cosas como fuerte como aquí en Perú lo que curamos, ¿no?
Sí.
Y entonces para mí es muy felicidad porque viene a compartir sus conocimientos, su sabiduría, lo que uno no sabemos, nos enseñan ellos, comparten con nosotros. Y eso es felicidad dentro de mi espacio y ver a ellos, sanando a ellos. Y otra parte, de aquí, de diferentes partes que vienen, son muy diferentes. Son como más cosas, como más un poco, ¿cómo te puedo decir? Lo que tú estabas preguntando, un poquito duro. ¿Qué quiere decir duro? Que si es una persona muy grave, tenemos que hacer cada noche ayahuasca para ver qué es lo que tiene y con qué planta podemos curar a ellos. Y también no es duro, ¿no? Estamos haciendo eso para aprender de ellos sus cosas fuertes. Trabajamos, salimos, nos hacemos más fuertes y más poderosos. Y por eso es que aprendí las medicinas.